Welcome back to my channel Celeb Buzz. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. Dale Earnhardt was born Ralph Dale Earnhardt on April 29, 1951. He was born in a small town called Kannapolis in North Carolina. This town was famous for car racing and cloth factories. His mom was Martha Coleman and his dad was Ralph Lee Earnhardt. They were very important in helping shape his early life. Ralph Lee Earnhardt. His father was not just any regular man. He was a really good race car driver on short tracks in North Carolina. People knew him for being skilled and never giving up when he was driving. When Ralph was racing, he had a great reputation. He was one of the best drivers of his time in the tough world of local short track racing. This racing world meant that Dale and his brothers and sisters got to see motorsports all the time. Their names were Danny, Randy, Kathy, and Kay. Each kid grew up hearing racing engines and being around the racing community. Even though their family had this strong racing background, Dale's father didn't want his son to become a race car driver. At first, maybe he wanted Dale to have a safer job or a more normal life away from the dangerous racetrack. But from when he was very young, Dale Earnhardt knew exactly what he wanted. He wanted to become a professional race car driver. His love for racing and his determination were clear from early on. He was willing to give up a lot to chase this dream. In fact, Dale wanted this so badly that he made a big decision to quit. It's cool. This choice showed everyone how dedicated he was. He was ready to give up the normal path to enter the fast and dangerous world of professional racing. This decision marked the beginning of what would become one of the most legendary careers in NASCAR history. Dale Earnhardt officially started his professional racing career in 1975. He made his first appearance in the famous Winston Cup Series. This was the top level of stock car racing at that time. His first race was the Tough World 600. This race happened at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina. The World 600 was known as the longest race of the season. It tested not only how well drivers could drive, but also how long they could keep going and how mentally tough they were. It was at this famous track where Dale first showed his potential as a serious competitor in the NASCAR world. Starting his career on such a demanding course was really important. It set the tone for the intensity and toughness that would be his style on the track throughout his career. 3 years later, in 1978, Earnhardt got his big chance. He was asked to replace another driver for the World 600 Cup race in Charlotte. It was in this high-pressure situation that Dale Earnhardt truly began to get the attention of racing fans and people in the racing business. Not only did he do a great job, but he also finished 7th in the Firecracker 400. This performance made it clear that he had raw talent and racing smarts. This breakthrough race was really important because it was his official introduction to the national racing scene. It proved to team owners and sponsors that he had the skill and determination to compete at the highest level. The next year, 1979 marked a new chapter in Earnhardt's career. He joined Rod Osterland Racing for his rookie season. This was a really important year where Dale began to show himself as a strong driver. He got his first victory at the Bristol Motor Speedway. His track was known for being short and having intense bumper-to-bumper racing. This kind of racing demanded quick reflexes and fierce competitiveness. Not only did he win this race, but he also finished 7th in the overall season standings. This was a remarkable achievement for a rookie in such a competitive field. This successful rookie campaign laid the foundation for what would be a consistently strong and successful career. In his second season, Earnhardt experienced a big change. With the arrival of a new crew chief named Doug Richard, his partnership proved to be really important in Dale's continued development and success on the track. Together, they won several races across key NASCAR venues. These included Atlanta, Bristol, Nashville, and Charlotte. Each of these victories added to Earnhardt's growing reputation as a versatile and skilled driver. He could master different tracks and conditions. His aggressive driving style and smart racing decisions began to captivate fans and intimidate competitors. By 1981, Dale Earnhardt had joined Richard Childress Racing. This was a team that would become connected with his name in later years. That season, he finished 7th overall. He continued to show his consistency as a top competitor. However, the next 2 years proved challenging. These seasons were some of the toughest times in Earnhardt's career. They were marked by struggles to find the winning formula. Despite these difficulties, Dale's ability to bounce back and refusal to give up defined his character. His breakthrough came when he finally won the Daytona 500. This was one of the most prestigious races in NASCAR. This happened 2 years after his struggles. This victory was a major turning point. It signaled his arrival as a top-tier driver capable of winning the sport's biggest events in 1984. Dale Earnhardt enjoyed a spectacular season. He won 6 races across various cities and tracks. His performance at Martinsville was great. He finished 8th and 4th in 2 separate races. This demonstrated his skill on one of NASCAR's most demanding short tracks. This season solidified his status as one of the sport's elite drivers. The following year, 1985, was also marked by several wins. This underscored his consistency and competitive edge. The pinnacle of Dale's success during this period came in 1986. He won his second Winston Cup championship that year. He dominated the season by securing 5 race victories, consistently finished within the top 5 and top 10 positions throughout the races. This level of performance set a new NASCAR record for the modern era. It's highlighted Earnhardt's ability to not only win, but to do so consistently over the course of a long and grueling season. In 1988, Earnhardt signed a new sponsorship deal with GM Goodwrench. This partnership would become iconic in NASCAR lore. It was during this season that he earned the nickname the Man in Black. His nickname was inspired by his black number 3 car and his tough, intimidating persona on the track. That year, he won 3 races, and in 1989 he increased his win tally to 5, continuing to assert his dominance. The 1990 season was particularly remarkable for Earnhardt. He claimed victories at the Busch, Clash, and the Gatorade Twin 125s. These were 2 important preseason events that showcased his readiness and speed. That year he won 9 races in the regular season and secured another Winston Cup championship, adding to his growing legacy in 1991. Dale Earnhardt clinched another Winston Cup championship. He scored 195 points with just 4 wins. Tees proved that consistency was just as important as outright victories. However, the 1992 season was more challenging. He managed to win only once at the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte and finished 12th in the points. This was a career low. Not deterred, he made a crucial change by hiring Andy Petrie as his new crew chief. This decision rejuvenated his performance, bringing him closer than ever to winning the Daytona 500 again. With Petrie's guidance, Earnhardt scored 6 wins that year and won yet another Winston Cup championship in 1994. Earnhardt won another Winston Cup championship. He finished the season with a commanding lead of 400 points. This championship would be the last of his illustrious career, marking the end of an era. Despite no longer winning championships, Earnhardt continued to be a force on the track. A T1995. He won 5 races, including the prestigious Daytona 500. He finished the season in 5th place overall. This demonstrated that even as competition intensified, he remained a top contender. The 1996 season was marked by Earnhardt's dominance during speed weeks. These were the events leading up to the Daytona 500, but he ultimately finished 2nd in the Daytona 500 itself. He bounced back by winning races in Rockingham and Atlanta, showing his resilience. That year, however, also brought a major setback when he suffered a serious accident during the Die Hard 500 at Talladega. The crash was severe, but Earnhardt's determination never wavered. Remarkably, he returned to the track the following week at Indianapolis. Although he led much of the race, his physical injuries eventually caught up with him, and he was unable to secure the win. In 1997, Earnhardt faced a tough year, failing to win any races. This was a significant downturn for the legendary driver, but true to his fighting spirit, bounced back in 1998 by finally winning the Daytona 500 again. This victory was celebrated by fans and the racing community alike. By 2000, although no longer in the absolute prime of his career, Earnhardt remained competitive. He scored 2 wins in Atlanta and finished 2nd in races at Richmond and Martinsville. This proved that even after decades in the sport, he could still compete with the best. Dale Earnhardt's personal life was as eventful as his legendary racing career. It began with his early marriage at a very young age. At just 17 years old, a time when many teenagers are still figuring out their own paths, Earnhardt made the significant decision to marry his first wife, Latane Brown, in 1968. This early marriage reflected both his commitment to family and, perhaps, the pressures of growing up quickly in the racing world. Together, Dale and Latane welcomed their first child, a son named Kerry Earnhardt. He would later follow in his father's footsteps and become involved in racing himself. However, the marriage was short-lived. After 4 years of trying to build a life together amid the challenges of Earnhardt's burgeoning racing career, the couple divorced in 1972. This period was likely marked by the strains of balancing, demanding professional life with personal responsibilities. This is something many athletes face, especially during the intense early years of their careers. Just 1 year after his divorce in 1971, Dale Earnhardt entered a new chapter by marrying his second wife, Brenda G. This union brought new stability to his personal life and would result in the birth of 2 children who became an important part of his legacy. Brenda and Dale had a daughter, Kelly King, and a son, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He would grow up to become one of NASCAR's most beloved and successful drivers. He was often seen as carrying on his father's indomitable spirit and passion for racing. The years with Brenda were significant not only because of the family they built, but also because Dale's career was skyrocketing during this time. He had major victories and growing fame. Nonetheless, as is sometimes the case with public figures under immense pressure, their marriage eventually ended in divorce. The exact circumstances behind their separation remained private, but it underscored the difficulties Earnhardt faced juggling his personal life with the demands of a high-profile career. Following his second divorce, Dale Earnhardt found love once again. In 1982, he married Teresa Houston, his third and final wife. Teresa would remain a steadfast partner throughout the remainder of Dale's life, supporting him through the peaks and valleys of his racing career. Together, they had a daughter named Taylor Nicole, completing Dale's family with another child who would grow up surrounded by the legend and legacy of their father. Teresa's role extended beyond that of a spouse. She was a vital source of emotional strength and stability for Earnhardt, especially during the more challenging times in his career. Their marriage lasted until Dale's untimely death in 2001. And Teresa played a crucial part in preserving and honoring his memory in the years following. The family they built together was deeply connected not only by blood, but also by their shared commitment to Dale's legacy both on and off the racetrack. For decades, the tragic death of Dale Earnhardt Sr. during the 2001 Daytona 500 left fans, analysts, and the racing community shrouded in uncertainty and speculation. The mystery surrounding the exact circumstances of his fatal crash has long been debated. People had theories about car malfunctions to questions about safety protocols on the track. But after years of investigation, new revelations, and detailed forensic analyses have finally brought some clarity to what really happened on that fateful day. Unfortunately, the findings are not comforting. Rather than being a freak accident or an unavoidable tragedy, the truth points to a series of preventable factors that collectively contributed to the loss of one of NASCAR's most legendary figures. The investigation uncovered critical issues with the safety equipment and the design of the car. This was especially regarding the head and neck restraints that were either improperly used or unavailable at the time. Dale Earnhardt Sr. had a history of resisting some safety gear, as many drivers of his era did. I believed it impeded their performance or comfort. Tragically, this resistance may have cost him his life. Furthermore, the design of the race cars then didn't adequately absorb or deflect the violent forces generated in high-speed impacts. The wall's placement and the lack of energy-absorbing barriers also played a devastating role. This meant the collision's impact transferred far more force to Earnhardt's body than it should have. Moreover, the mystery delved into the dynamics of the crash itself. Video footage, telemetry data, and witness testimonies revealed that Earnhardt's car was caught in a split-second sequence of events. He was being squeezed and nudged by other vehicles, leading to a loss of control. The aggressive pack racing style common in restrictor plate tracks like Daytona contributed to these chaotic moments. It's the very nature of NASCAR racing, which encourages tight formations and close contact driving, can elevate the risk of multi-car pileups. While Earnhardt was a master at navigating such conditions, even his skills couldn't prevent the unavoidable crash sequence that unfolded. This newfound clarity has also spurred ongoing discussions about NASCAR's responsibility for driver safety. Since Earnhardt's death, the sport has implemented numerous safety improvements. These include the mandatory use of the HS device, head and neck support, safer barriers, improved car chassis designs, and enhanced medical response protocols. These advancements underscore the harsh reality that Earnhardt's death was a catalyst for change, but also a grim reminder of what was lost due to earlier complacencies. The resolution of the Dale Earnhardt Sr. mystery, far from offering solace, exposes a painful truth. It wasn't simply bad luck or fate that took his life, but a combination of inadequate safety measures, racing practices, and technology limitations that could have been addressed sooner. Sobering realization only heightens the appreciation for the safety strides made since and serves as a continual call to prioritize the well-being of drivers on the track above all else.